Yeah.
Um, Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity to anchor our show today. So, uh, I know you all are excited to learning new things from today's session. As from today we have new plan, new activities, right? So, first of all, I would like to invite Vaishali ma'am from Ullasnagar, Maharashtra, to give her warm welcome speech. Yes, Vaishali ma'am, please give your speech.
Thank you, Lakshmi ma'am, for giving this opportunity. Good evening, all. Good evening, and very warm welcome to all the members of our weekend steward. I'm here, Vaishali Shamnani. I would like to welcome to you all to our today's sessions. So today we are going to do some new topics and some new activities. I hope you all will enjoy it. Before starting today's session, first of all, I would like to thank the founder of our weekend studio, Mr. Prakash sir, who came up with this new activities. I hope this will really enhance our knowledge. And I would like to thank the Nageshwar sir, Jaya ma'am, and Santa ma'am, and all the members. So now I would like to welcome our today's anchor, Lakshmi ma'am. Uh, um, I would like to request Lakshmi ma'am to continue the today's session. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Vaishali ma'am. Though it is your first time giving a welcome speech, but you have done excellently your work. Put a big hand for her.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, today we have two timekeepers. In the morning, I announced Ranjana ma'am as timekeeper, but she will also, later it was decided that she will also talk, speak on biography. So when she will speak, then Anush sir will be the timekeeper. Now we should start our first topic, current affairs. So first of all, I would like to invite Keru sir, who is very sincere and good and a good speaker of our platform, to give us to tell us the current affairs. Yes, sir. Please.
Thank you for giving me chance. So, hello everyone, and good evening also. So, our today's topic, my today's topic for current affairs is National Digital Health Mission. So, our Prime Minister uh, announced the launch of National Digital Health Mission on our Independence Day, 74th Independence Day. We all know that our health system is not that too good. So I can say that this is the step toward our better health system. So I want to tell you some key points of our National Digital Health System. National Digital Health System is a complete digital health ecosystem. So uh, I want to now tell you some key features of National Digital Health System. First of them is Health ID. Second one is Personal Health Record. Third one is Digi Doctor, and fourth one is Health Facility Registry. So these are four key features of National Digital Health Mission. So at large scale, it will also include online medicine or pharmacies, and also telemedicine services too. And this National Digital Health Mission will be implemented by the National Health Authority under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And this platform will be available in the form of application and site too. So now I would like to put some light on 2 points. First of them is Digi Doctor. So Digi Doctor is an option for every doctor across India to enroll in it. So if they want to share their contact, then they can share that contact in this platform too. And second point is about digi signature. When they join this platform, they will get digi signatures for free, and digi signatures will be used for patients. What I can say that prescription, writing prescription, they can write prescription for patients, and this is all voluntary for every doctor and hospital to provide their details on this platform. And now I would like to put some light on my second point is Health ID. So Health ID will be a repository of all health related information of every Indian citizen, and various healthcare providers like hospitals, pharmacies, laboratories, insurance, all this will be take part in this health ID system. I can say that, and whoever participant or whoever person wants to available their all health related records on digital, they have to must create an unique health ID. For that, they have to give some basic details and mobile number or Aadhaar card number. And last, this is also voluntary for every citizen, and it is applicable across all states, hospitals, pharmacies, and laboratories also. This is all details about National Digital Health Mission. And yeah, I like to share all this information with you. And this is all. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Kerry sir, for giving us so useful information. We have learned many things from your speech, and you know, with you we are also updated today, because generally we don't don't study current affairs, but from you we have learned many things. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now I would like to Now I would like to invite Ashok sir, who is the future IS officer from our Weekend Institute family. Please, Ashok sir, give your speech.
Thank you, Lakshmi ma'am. Good evening, all. So today I'm going to tell about Plasma Bank. Recently, it was in news due to this COVID-19. I want to tell something about Plasma Bank as well as plasma therapy. So first, I want to tell about plasma. What is plasma? So plasma is a main constituent of our blood, which is nearly about 55%, which constitute about 55%, and rest of other part is 45%, in which include red blood cell, WBCs, white blood cell, and these platelets. Okay, so plasma, the main function of plasma in our blood, in our body, is to it secretes a kind of protein which is help in increasing our immunity power, and as well as it is also helps in blood clotting. And plasma also helps in secreting electrolytes such as sodium ion and calcium ion. So it is a main constituent of our blood, and it is liquid, and also its color is yellowish, slightly yellowish in color. Okay, so now I move to what is plasma bank. So recently, India's first plasma bank was set up in Delhi, in the Institute of Liver and Bile Sciences. There's an institute where it is set up first. Now different states have this plasma lab, but first it is set up in Delhi in July. So the main aim of this plasma bank is to collect, to extract the plasma from the recovered COVID-19 patient, and store there. So we can store plasma for 1 year. It can also be stored in a freezing condition. So plasma, it carries antibodies, which is very essential for to fight any foreign pathogen. Suppose uh, I recovered from COVID-19, so my body develops a kind of antibodies within my body. So if again that pathogen attacks on my body, then it is my body is capable to fight that foreign pathogen. So with this, I have less chance to get again that disease. So antibodies helps a lot. So now I move towards that this plasma bank. In plasma bank, we collect from one person near about 500 ml of plasma from the body from one recovered patient, and this plasma is used for curing two COVID-19 patient. Okay. So this plasma therapy is also known as convalescent plasma therapy. So convalescent means ki something which recovered from a very severe disease. So when a patient recovers, he, as I told earlier, that he develops a kind of antibodies which fight with foreign pathogen. So now I will tell who can donate this plasma. So first we have to keep in mind that only recovered patient can donate plasma. Only
Time up, sir.
Okay, if you permit, then I will tell some
Yes, yes.
proceed because few points
Yes,
are left
sir.
only. Okay,
Yes,
thank you,
sir.
ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you. So those recovered patient can donate plasma who are under between the age of 18 to 60 years only, and they don't have any severe diseases like HIV or hypertension, and also cancer. These types of they don't have these types of problems. If they have these diseases, then they are not able to donate plasma. Okay. So thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. You have gave us so important information. Thank you for that. And keep coming our session.
Sure, ma'am.
Class is in the next level, I think. You know, I'm enjoying these all things. You have such a great knowledge, and Kair also did a great job. Wonderful. We are not learning only.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank
We are increasing our
Thank you,
knowledge.
sir.
Wow, this is great. Such a great platform.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Sir, in this way, I can remove my hesitation also, because while speaking, sometimes I hesitate in front of others. So in this way, I can remove my hesitation also.
And you
It is
both
very
are
helpful for
very
me.
hard to collect this type of information, and we are so happy to get knowledge from you. Wonderful.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that's
We
yeah.
are learning from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
One
So
minute, Lakshmi.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, you carry on. I will speak with Ashok separately. Okay, you carry on.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. So now our topic is biography. Today's biography is about Dr. Rajendra Prasad, sir, the first president of India. First of all, I would like to invite the cute and very helpful, really very helpful girl, Ranjana Madam, for giving her speech on Rajendra Prasad ji.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Good evening, everyone. As you know, my name is Ranjana Goswami. So today I am going to tell you about late Dr. Rajendra Prasad, childhood and education. So before start my topic, I want to tell you one quote which is written by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, that is, in attaining our ideals, our means should be as pure as the end. So now come on the topic. So he was born on 3rd December 1884 in Ziradei village of Siwan district of Bihar. And his father name was Mahadev Syan and mother name was Kamleshwari Devi. His father was a scholar of Persian and Sanskrit language, and mother was very religious. When Dr. Rajendra Prasad was child, her mother used to tell him stories. So when he was at the age of 5, her mother told her about Ramayana. So her mother died very soon. So her elder sister took care him. So her parents gave him the responsibility of teaching Persian to the Malvi. After this initial traditional teaching, he was sent to district school of Chapra for further study at the age of 12. At the same age, he got married with Rajvashani Devi. Later, he went to Patna to study with his elder brother. His name was Mahendra Prasad. Then he got admission in T.K. Ghosh Academy. In this institute, he studied for 2 years. In the year 1902, he got first place in University of Calcutta. He got in the entrance exam of the University of Calcutta. On this achievement, he also got scholarship rupees 30 rupees per month for studying. In 1915, he got a master degree in law awarded the gold medalist. He was always known as good student. So he also did doctorate in law. He was a very kind person. Our whole country, whole world, him remember as the most humble president. And one time, what happened when he was doing graduation? That time, one examiner check her examination sheet. Then he said, "Examine is better than examiner." So yeah, that's all about her childhood and education. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving so much information about Rajendra Prasad ji, and we got to know many things about him from your speech. Thank you. Put a big hand for her. Pramod sir is there here or not?
I am here.
Yes, he is here.
Okay, so I would like to invite the one of the elder and sincere person of our Weekend Institute platform to give a speech on Dr. Rajendra Prasad, sir. Yes, Pramod, sir.
Yes,
Give it.
uh,
Yeah.
thank you, all of you, and good evening to all of you. I got such opportunity to speak about Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who was the first president of India, and also Indian activities, lawyer, a scholar. So they have many things to uh, say in their regards. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, land holding rich caste family. He was born on 3rd December 1884 in Jiradei district, Sharan. It was in Bengal, but now presently it is in Bihar. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, uh, father's name was Mahadev Shahai, was a scholar of both Sanskrit and Persian language. His mother, Kamleshwari Devi, was a housewife, but he was devoted and he well known a story of Mahabharata and Ramayana. So they used to say uh, a story to their her childrens to give good characters and you can say in Hindi sanskar. Uh, he was the youngest child of her family. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the youngest child of his family. He has three sisters and one elder brother, Mahendra Prasad. Uh, to earlier in childhood, his mother passed away, and his sister took care him. And in a earlier age, when he started to study, his father was given to a tutelage of Maulvi, an accomplished Muslim scholar, to learn uh, Persian and mathematics. After the completion of traditional elementary and education, he sent a Chhapra district to learn till high school. Meanwhile, in June 1896, at earlier age of 12, he was married to Rajeshwari Devi. He, along with his elder brother, Mahendra Prasad, then went to study T.K. Ghosh Academy in Patna for a period of 2 years. After that, he secured the first entrance examination to University of Kolkata, and was awarded rupees 30 per month as a scholarship. Dr. Rajendra Prasad joined the Presidency College, Calcutta in 2002, initially as a science student, but after FA, he has also learned Hindi, and that time in his regard, examiner told for him that examinee is better than examiner. So Dr. Rajendra Prasad, our first president, was also a political leader. He was an Indian political leader and lawyer, training post joining the Indian National Congress during the Indian independence movement and became a major leader. He also elected as a president of Constituent Assembly of India, which prepared the constitution on the India and served as the provisional parliament. And in 1950, first initially he became a minister of agriculture and food, and in 1950 he became a first president of India, and he ruled as a president 12 years till 1962. And after in 1962, also he awarded as a Bharat Ratna, very precious award for Indian civilian, Bharat Ratna. And after that, on 28 February 1963, at the age of 78, may I get 1 second more, ma'am?
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
On 28 February 1963, at the age of 78, he died by heart attack. So thank you, ma'am, to giving a moment.
Thank you, sir, for giving us information about Rajendra Prasad, sir. Your speech was really very good. And now I want to ask one question to you. That do you know who is called the first citizen of India? Who is the first citizen of India?
President.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. So, Rajendra Prasad sir served our nation as the citizen of India, first citizen of India for 2 times. And I want to add one more fact about him. That is, Rajendra Prasad was Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the president of the Constituent Assembly on December 11, 1946. Very important fact about him. Yeah. So our biography, our second topic is also completed very successfully.
Due to lack of time, ma'am, I have to speak more.
Sorry,
like with the date.
But we decided that one speaker will talk about childhood and education, and other one is about achievement. I think Pramod sir covered childhood and education and achievement also. So yeah, it's okay.
So,
but we
if
decided
if Pramod sir will,
Hello. Thank you, Rania, but you have to speak more, and I have just got how to speak by you also. You have given very much information, so just I use that in our speech, in my speech. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, hello, excuse me, Lakshmi, I have one suggestion for the speakers who are going to talk about the biography or autobiography. They should make the PowerPoint presentation with pictures and some useful information. So it will be more useful for all, and it will be easier for those to explain everything because they can see on the screen also to speak.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we can understand easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So should we do or not from tomorrow?
From tomorrow?
Sir, we can.
Should do.
We can.
Yeah, with the PowerPoint presentation with useful pictures and useful lines, sentences, points. And one more thing we can add, we may ask some questions also. Okay, audience will ask, means we can ask some questions to that person who is talking about the biography. If we are interested in some topic, then they will answer us. Is it good? 3 or 4 questions we can ask.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Shanta madam wants to say something. Yeah, madam.
So today, both Ranjana Goswami and Sir also gave speech on same words, same sentences. So if it is extended, it will be good. Yesterday we thought we decided to speak.
Actually, ma'am, today we have only 2 participants. Yes. That was the reason. Now I will decide here with the help of our Subhash sir, the 3 participants. So like next time it will divide equally.
Today,
it might be
Ranjana
beginning. That's why we have some problem. It's a beginning. We have.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's
yes, sir.
But I like your enthusiasm. You know, Lakshmi is looking so enthusiastic today. You all are looking enthusiastic. You all do your work. Wow, you are all doing great job. Wonderful. So now I can see we can, really we can.
Yes,
It is
sir.
a different and interesting topics all are
Yeah.
telling about. So we are very fascinating to listen all the things.
Yeah. Yeah. So Lakshmi, what's your next plan?
Yeah. Sir, I want to tell about 16 September. So today is World Ozone Day.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I just want to
Yes.
give small introduction of World Ozone Day. So, you know, in my mobile in calendar, there is a small introduction of Ozone Day. I will just read that.
Yeah,
So
you can say.
September 16, yeah. September 16 was designated by the United Nations General Assembly as the International Day for the Preservation of the Ozone Layer. The designation had been made on December 19, 2000 in commemoration of the date in 1987 on which nations signed the, I think it's Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer. Yeah, that's all. Some tough word was there. New word.
Montreal. That is the name of a town or city.
Yeah.
Is in Canada, I think.
Yeah. So our this topic was completed. So shall we start our grammar lesson?
No.
Sir?
How can
We have less time. We have less time.
Ah,
Only 2 minutes are there. So
so
that's why second session is better.
in the second session we will
Okay.
discuss about our grammar.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to tell one thing that our you know, biography topic and also everything, you know, about the speaker who will speak, this everything, you know, should be announced very early, you know, in early morning. Then everyone will get time to prepare. You know, from today, I show one thing that, you know, current affairs will, you know, will speak someone, you know, they will also have to discuss, like Ashok sir and Keru sir, you know, I think they have discussed which topic will, you know, they, you know, talk, because if they will not discuss, then same topic will be, you know,
They will prepare the
spoken
same
by,
topic.
yes,
Both
yes.
of them.
Yeah. And also about biography, the speaker's name should be announced very early. Yeah.
Anusa, I want to say something. If you announce 4 names, if anybody, you announce 4 names, if anybody is absent on that day, then three will speak about the topic, about the biographical speech.
Ma'am, actually, I was in contact with everyone. So
Because we are in
when they
the
cancelled the,
WhatsApp group.
yeah, I actually I called everyone and asked them if they are able or not to attend the biographies